Well, a very good morning and welcome to the webinar, the first of our New Year series. This webinar titled Bounce Back from the COVID-19 Pandemic with the Use of Digital Marketing. So happy New Year. Thank you for being with us for today. We have just an hour together, and in this hour, my aim is to resource you to survive, to pivot, to even thrive throughout the global pandemic. And who would have thought that we would begin this new year of 2021 with just one day in the office before being plunged back into the government guidelines to stay at home and protect lives again? Well, we're living in some very, very strange times. And of course, these are the times when businesses are most affected. And if you are in a business that has struggled this year, a business perhaps where you've had to furlough your staff, my thoughts, my prayers and my sympathy is with you. And also, if you know of anyone who's sadly lost their lives as a result of coronavirus, then of course our thoughts are with you as well. But in these times of economic uncertainty, we've had Brexit, we've now had the year of 2020 with COVID. What do we then do now? Well, in this webinar today, I'm going to help resource you with the tools that are going to be necessary to pivot you out of this pandemic into a position where you will thrive and be able to grow your business to the next level. So we're going to be focusing some of the factors today that are working for our clients. Iconic Digital has spent the last 9 years pioneering a scientific and innovative approach to digital marketing. And we achieve this by achieving a return on investment for each of our clients every time. And this year, we've been recognised by the Daily Telegraph as one of the leaders in Best of British Business in their 2021 campaign. We're delighted for that. So as I begin today's seminar, I really want to take you through some of the systems and processes that are working for our clients now. So Iconic Digital is ultimately a firm of consultants. There's 18 of us here who are passionate about digital marketing, and we're leading the way in helping you to grow your business and do this for you. And right at the outset, this isn't a sales presentation, guys. This is resourcing you to grow. And so as a result of coming on the webinar today, I want to send you a copy of our free book, which we produced in the first pandemic, and it's called The Digital Revolution. It's 7 chapters, and it's basically the entrepreneur's guide to effective digital marketing. 7 chapters include our 7 steps marketing chassis. That applies to any business, regardless of whether you are B2B, B2C, or whether you're in the charity or voluntary sector. And today I'm going to be talking you through some of those concepts today that ultimately will result in you getting more targeted, relevant traffic through to your website. Iconic Digital has been running these webinars now since the first pandemic. And the reason we do them is because we really want you to be able to be successful in your business. And we ourselves deliver what we call a guaranteed return on investment model. And that is through the use of innovative digital marketing strategies, some of which I'm going to be sharing with you today. So ultimately, we're peeling back the lid on your website. We're understanding who's visiting the site, not just numbers, but actually the individuals, so that we can track, measure, and ultimately get a model that shows which marketing channel is resulting in successful sales conversion. And this is kind of like the marketing top stuff that if you can grab these concepts, then you will be able to grow a business of any industry, any size to the next level. And I'm going to give you a model at the end. It's what we call our 5 steps metric, which is going to be able to help you by just using small incremental changes across each one of the key factors. We're going to help you to get up to a 64% growth this year in your turnover alone. And really, to double your revenue, it's not unachievable. It really is possible. We just need to know how. So the starting basis for a digital marketing strategy is your website. And you notice I call it a digital asset. And I don't do that just to keep in line with good business speak for 2021. Not at all. And what I'm trying to do is encourage this to be a place where you ultimately will invest time, energy, and resources into your digital asset. And regardless of whether that's an information site, an e-commerce site, or whether it's something that you've deployed yourself through a content management system like WordPress or Drupal, these solutions exist ultimately to act as the capture point for all of your traffic. So we have multiple different channels in the digital marketing arena. So things like search engine optimization, paid advertising through the likes of Google and the Facebook ecosystem, we've got social media, we've got marketing automation strategies via email and content marketing, all of these different channels at our disposal. So digital marketing is really the concept of getting connectivity with your customers and with your prospects. Connection is so, so important, and the power of connection will really ensure that your business generates brand fans that ultimately will help your brand grow 2.5 times faster than if you didn't have clients referring people to you. And so digital marketing, right at the outset, we've got to get our website right. And this is based on something called the F principle. Guys, this has got nothing to do with Gordon Ramsay. This is to do with where people look on your website, drawing a capital F with their eyes, starting in the top left-hand corner and drawing this capital F within 1.4 seconds of arriving on your website. So, my friends, you see today that actually we've only got a very short amount of time to grab hold of someone's attention and get them engaged with our website. So our website has to do a number of things. It's got to answer the search journey that someone has put into Google, so that when they ultimately arrive on our site, they stay, and our website becomes an arena that ultimately allows us to track, to measure, to test, and ultimately to capture sales inquiries, whether that's through a web capture form, a telephone call, or whether it's through the tracking software that I'm going to show you in our webinar today. So think about the F principle. It's really important. The F principle exists because over here in the West, we read from left to right. Now, if you're in marketing to an Asian audience, of course, they read the other way around, right to left, and therefore the F is actually an inverted F. So think about your target audience and who you're marketing to ultimately lay out your website in the right way. Now, for 2021, one of the best ways to increase conversion and get sales leads coming into your business is to utilize targeted pop-ups. And everyone, when I say pop-ups, goes, no, not another pop-up. Really, I don't want that. It's not user-friendly. Are you sure, Steve? Well, these are actually, what I'm showing you on the screen is actually the very best way to do a pop-up. Now notice that there is only 3 form fills entries in here. So the name, the email address, and the telephone number. We don't need any more information than that. And of course, the offer that we're positioning to our target audience, not only is it free, but it's relevant to them. And it's so relevant, why wouldn't they exchange their data in exchange for the offer that you're putting forward? So if you want to be capturing leads, this is one of the best ways to do that. And I want you to think about your website from a conversion rate optimization perspective. What do I mean by CRO? Well, ultimately, CRO is the concept of making sure that traffic that comes to my website is going to take a next step. It's going to convert into a sales lead. And that might not be through a web form. It might not be through live chat. In actual fact, the percentage of people that are giving away their details and are putting their information into web forms is decreasing year on year. And so we have to really think about a smart way to understand who's on our digital asset and then work out a way to nurture these prospects. And so what I'm going to show you today is not only based on our years of experience in doing this at an enterprise level, but I'm also going to really nail this down to some key client case study examples so you can see how my customers are actually doing it right now and how it's working even during the global pandemic. Of course, we don't know what the future holds. We don't know how long we're going to be locked down, whether that's to the middle of February or beyond. And indeed, as the virus program gets rolled out, it could be months or even the rest of this year of trying to recover from this. So it's really important that we understand digital. We understand that it's one of the primary ways to cost effectively generate a lead workflow, a lead nurturing program that guarantees the return on investment for every pound we spend. Now, why am I being so confident when I talk about return on investment? Because marketing must produce ROI. Now, if you're anything like me, your turnover has probably been limited as a result of the global pandemic in 2020, and therefore your marketing budget that previously might have been there will be slightly less than it was. And so what I'm not advocating here is spend, and hopefully you'll get something back. No, I want you to be able to invest your marketing budget wisely in the channels that are most likely to produce you sales inquiries. And I'm going to give you those 3 channels today and look at how your website is performing using those 3 channels. So as we begin, I want to really go back before the internet to just talk about the buying process. And what I'm showing you on the screen right now is the pre-internet 6-stage buying process. In other words, a business would be identifying their needs. And so they would put an invitation to tender out. They would engage with 3 potential suppliers who would then put forward their tender. They visualize solutions, move through to evaluation, start negotiating, and ultimately purchase and then reevaluate. A 6-step process that's quite lengthy. And I want you to notice that they engaged with their suppliers in stage number 1. Now, what's happened is we've moved to the post-web era where everything now happens online. Right at this moment, people are making purchasing decisions based on what they see on your digital asset, on your website. So if your website isn't fast, if it isn't responsive, if it doesn't have all of the content and information that your prospects need, the likelihood is, guys, that they are going to go with a competitor who does have that information on there. So in the post-web buying era that we're in now, a client will be identifying their needs and visualizing their solutions right at this point in time. They're then going to start the process of looking for potential suppliers, evaluating alternatives. Have they at this point engaged with you? Yes or no? Well, actually, the answer is no. They've done all of this through the web. They've done it through the website. So your brand positioning, the positioning of content on the page that results in successful conversion is really fundamentally important. And guys, more importantly than all of that, we've got to make sure that all of these digital channels are working for ourselves. And you know, you could get someone internally to do this. You could recruit a marketing specialist, pay them 30, 40 grand, and you might get some of the way to completing this. But the likelihood is that businesses don't have the desire and the resources to be able to train and educate these people. And so this is why companies leverage the power of a team of subject matter experts like we have here at Iconic Digital. So what we're doing here is putting forward a strategy, and the slide I'm showing you on the screen is your website, your digital asset at the center of that strategy. Firstly, building you a site that is going to convert traffic into sales inquiries, and then looking at the channels that exist around that website that ultimately feed targeted relevant traffic through to the digital asset. So here we go. We've got things like search engine optimization, getting found on Google, still one of the most fundamental ways in order to get traffic to a site. Many marketers at the moment, we will have heard some of the most popular people out there tell you that SEO is dead. You can't do SEO. It is a load of rubbish. And it really, people who say that, it's because they don't understand SEO. They don't understand the way the algorithm has developed, and they're investing more of their time and energy in doing Google Ads, which of course have a quantifiable ROI. It's very easy to manage, and they don't want you spending money on SEO. They want all of your money going to paid ads so that they get their cut, they get their commission. Guys, I want to tell you right at the outset today that SEO is still one of the best channels to utilize, and actually you decide the type of traffic you get. You do that by the content that you have on your site and the links that you are building every single month to increase that website's domain authority. Next channel round, we already mentioned it, it's paid advertising, and it is one of the fundamental ways that you can pay to get that traffic coming to your site. Now, of course, it's not a long-term strategy, it's based on a short-term acquisition cost, but now that Google and Facebook are moving towards a cost per acquisition model, things are moving away from those age-old days where we would be thinking about a keyword costing us a certain amount per click. Now, of course, that still exists within the Google Ads system, but ultimately we're trying to move through to a model that says I can buy leads, or better still, I can buy customers. So a cost per acquisition model, and that's on Google. And of course, with Facebook, Facebook is now moving at a very fast, rapid pace of change where you can utilize the Facebook ecosystem. That's Facebook, it's WhatsApp, it's Facebook Messenger, and it's Instagram. So those 4 social media channels that you can utilize to get targeted traffic coming to your website. Of course, the difference between Google and the difference between Facebook is that on Google, people are searching to find your business, and therefore we say that they are exhibiting commercial intent. Therefore, the level of conversion is likely to be higher, and therefore we pay a slight premium for Google Ads than we would typically do on Facebook. But remember, on the Facebook ecosystem, people are looking on their mobile devices to find pictures of their friends and family. Therefore, our ad strategy on Facebook has to be far more disruptive so that we can get that traffic coming through to the website. I'm not saying don't use Facebook. I'm just saying that there are different channels in operation here, and we need to understand the difference so that we know how much budget should be proportioned onto Google versus Facebook. If you're in B2B, 80% of your budget at least should be on your Google ads, 20% of the budget on Facebook ads. If you are in B2C, the other way around, potentially a 50-50 strategy with Google and Facebook sharing equal measure. Right, we're then looking at social media, and social media, remember, within our marketing funnel, right at the top of our marketing funnel is brand awareness. And if you're an enterprise company, typically you'll be investing a lot of money in brand building. And that's great for enterprises, but for SMEs, for small businesses, we don't have the budget, the resources to be able to fund big level above the line media campaigns that do brand awareness. So the next level down is what we call market engagement. That's mid-funnel marketing. Market engagement includes things like social media. Now, social media, do we need it in order to get conversions and leads? Well, you need it because your audience are online, and you also need it because we need that social amplification, which benefits our SEO, search engine optimization strategy. So we do need social media, but it's still not at the lead generation point of the funnel. And lead generation is the next one down. So brand awareness, market engagement, and lead generation. Guys, if you're wanting to pivot out of the pandemic to survive and thrive, then you need to be focusing more on lead generation strategies at this time rather than brand building and market engagement. Now, if you're a bigger business and you've got the budget to do all of those things, wonderful, you're in minority. The majority of us, we're having to go tighter on our spend, but making sure that we get a quantifiable return on investment. And guys, if you're spending £1 on marketing, you need to be able to evidence a minimum of 3 back. And so an ROI model, understanding that calculation so that we have total transparency. This is what digital marketing provides. And if you're not getting that from the reports that you've got, you haven't got that traceability and transparency from your existing agency or perhaps from your own internal team, then come and speak to us, because we can give you some tools and resources to give you a free marketing audit. And at the end of this session, not only are we going to give you a copy of the Digital Revolution to learn this strategy for yourself, but we're also going to be giving you £1,000 of free marketing to use with Iconic Digital, and also a comprehensive audit with me. Now, I'm going to be taking on 10 new customers over the next quarter, and those 10 customers, you have the ability to apply to be one of those customers. I'm rolling out a coaching program together with our enhanced service delivery team that is basically going to mean that we will do the marketing for you, but I'm also going to coach you so that you will be able to do this yourself in the long run as well. And that really is something that's changed for us. We've never added this coaching element on. So if you want to be one of those 10 companies, please just apply through Rosie, our event manager, and we'd be glad to assist you. Right, the next area is what we call email marketing, or what I prefer to call marketing automation. Now, marketing automation, it's more than just sending out an HTML newsletter. And I hope today that by the end of this webinar, that you will never, ever, ever want to send an HTML newsletter again. Because fundamentally, guys, HTML newsletters land in the junk filters. They don't really get delivered. And if they do get delivered, people don't take a next step action off the back of a newsletter. So what do we need to do? Well, we have to have a targeted email system that sends out a 3-paragraph personal plain text email to our audience. 3 paragraphs. Paragraph 1 is why you're making the contact, so what's the offer. Paragraph 2 is who you are. Paragraph 3 is your call to action. We don't need anything else. Very, very simple emails that go out. And we have both scheduled and triggered emails. And I want to talk to you today about triggered campaigns, because marketing automation is the way that most businesses are getting better ROI through digital channels. And that relies on our website being able to identify the prospects that are actually on our site. Now, I'm not just talking here about the numbers of people, the data that we get from Google Analytics free of charge. We don't just want to know numbers, we want to know the real people that are on our site. And there's a tool that we use here. This isn't our own product, it's a product by Spotler here in the UK called Gator Leads. And Gator Leads, it will cost you £175 a month. If you go to Spotler, then they'll charge you that. You can come to us and we'll give you a free trial on it first so that you can actually see it. And that's a 3-month trial that as a partner we're able to offer. So if you'd like that, please ask us at the end of the seminar and we'd be pleased to offer it. What Gator Leads does It's an IP lookup software. So it's looking at the IP address of the person that comes to the website, and it's cross-referencing that IP with the National Archive of IP addresses. That's giving us the company name. It's then going a step further where it's going to cross-reference that company name with the publicly available data sources. That's Companies House, it's Dun & Bradstreet, Zoom data, and it's going to give us all of that information about that prospect. So address, telephone number, website, turnover, number of employees, etc. So all of that information is drawn into the product so that we can see who's on the site. But Gator Leads takes it one further step. When we at Iconic Digital send an email out on your behalf, we put a pixel cookie into that email, not the cookie that you eat, guys. This is digital technology. The cookie goes onto the device, whether it's a mobile, a desktop, or a tablet. And the moment you come to our website or your own website and you accept cookies, if Gator Leads is on the back end of that site, then it's going to pull through that cookie information into the website. So we then get all of the personal information about the individuals that are on the site. So not only do I know that HSBC Bank are on my site, but I know that John Smith, the local area director in Surrey, is on my site. So really, really useful information that ultimately is going to give you that quantifiable return on investment. And most importantly, it's going to enable you to do what we call remarketing. Remarketing, sometimes known as follow me marketing. Okay, this is the process of using both email and ads to then target our prospects once they've been to our website. And you can do this through the Google Display Network, or you can do it when people come to your website and then you send them an email. So plain text personal email that comes from an individual conveys trust, interest from the subject line, action from the preview pane, trust from the sender alias. So it's coming from you as an individual, not the company, and it's targeting those people. Okay, so that's our marketing automation email system. And then the final element of this strategy is content marketing. And we heard back in 2019, everyone saying content is king, and everyone suddenly went online, writing blogs, producing videos, producing web content. And that is still true to this day. Content is still king, but actually the way we utilize that content is going to benefit our social media channels. It's going to benefit our SEO. It's also going to start driving some lead nurturing and converting those prospects who are visiting our website. So there we go. There's the strategy. That strategy, guys, the most important slide in the deck today, can be applied to any of your businesses. And I'd love the opportunity to show you how it works. Now, the next step is using Gator Leads. I want to show you inside Gator Leads here. You can see here that we've got a list of prospects. These are the people that are on our site over the last couple of days. You can see on the left-hand column here, we've got the Chili score. How hot is that prospect? We've then got integration into CRM. So if you're using Salesforce, Microsoft Dynamics, Zoho, whatever your flavor, we can integrate the product into that. The next step is we see the company and the email address of the individual. And actually we can watch and track these people so that when this prospect comes back onto my website, the system will trigger an automatic email to the owner of this record. We can assign that over here on the right-hand column. And that's then going to trigger an email to that person to tell us that this prospect is back live on the site. And here's the magic, guys. When I click in on this system into any one of these company names, I then get all of the information. So the CRM data, I'm getting the publicly available data from Companies House, Dun & Bradstreet, and Zoom, all of that being drawn into the product. And I own that data under license because they're on my website. They've accepted my cookies. But most importantly, guys, I see the top 10 pages, the last 10 pages, and this for me is the magic. This is what we call marketing attribution modeling. I can start to see the keywords that they've searched for. I can see the websites that they've come from, to the referring domains, and I also can see the campaigns that I've sent them. So I can begin to start getting unified omni-channel marketing strategy, 360 marketing, guys, where I can understand what my prospects are doing. I'm tracking them and I'm lead scoring them. And as they do different things on my website, I can set my email system up to trigger campaigns back to these people based on the actions that they take. This is smart stuff, guys. This is next level digital marketing that is ultimately going to cause your marketing to produce quantifiable results, not just spending money and hoping. Now we have the visibility, traceability, and tracking to actually get that guaranteed ROI. And look, guys, I put on here on the slide, think ROI, M&T. What does M&T stand for? Measure and test, measure and test. Now, if you were a marketer, please forgive me for a moment, because I'm going to say a statement that might offend you. And this is the statement: most marketers are lazy. Okay, if you're not lazy, please excuse me, ask for your forgiveness. But most marketers don't go to the degree of detail that's required to do measuring and testing properly. Now, with marketing, and particularly with digital, we have total transparency. So we've got all of these things within our digital toolkit. We've got our content strategy, our search strategy, email marketing automation, the remarketing through Google Display Network and email. We've got our pay-per-click advertising, so whether that's through Google or the Facebook ecosystem. Of course, we've got social media, and why not throw webinars into it like this? I'm doing these webinars all the time now, getting hundreds of people coming, engaging with the webinars. It doesn't cost me anything to do, but actually I can really resource people, help people to pivot, to survive and thrive. And ultimately, you guys will get the best value out of coming to a webinar. And hopefully, even if you don't come with us as a customer, you will refer us, and hey, you get a free copy of your Digital Revolution book. So it's win-win all around. So think, measure and test, guys. And if you're not getting that detail from your analytics, then it needs to be set up. Think about goal conversion within analytics, so we understand what actions we're taking within our digital marketing that are ultimately going to achieve quantifiable results. And guys, this is remarketing. So our prospect comes onto our website. They click the button that says yes to cookies, which, to be frank, everyone does these days. So our prospect is then tracked. They leave our site, God forbid, for whatever reason, and wherever they go across the internet for the next 3 months, they're going to start seeing our ad. Guys, remember, smart remarketing always includes a telephone number. Why? Well, when your telephone number is on your remarketing ad, what happens is someone sees your ad, they think, oh yes, I'm going to call them on the telephone number. They do that, they pick up their phone, they'll dial your number, and you don't pay anything. Okay, why is that? Well, the only time that you pay for remarketing is when someone clicks on your ad. So how much is remarketing going to cost you? Well, that's the question. It's how long is a piece of string? To give you some ballpark figures here, roughly the remarketing cost equates to 9 to 10% of the sessions that you have visiting your site. So if you have 1,000 people visiting your site every month, roughly speaking, you're going to be paying between 90 and £100 on your remarketing costs per month. And of course, you set that up yourself. It's capped, so you know that you're not going to go over that. You can set your daily spend limits within the Google Ads system, and it is totally transparent. Guys, so we've looked at strategy here, and I've given you the top level stuff of what you should be doing to generate that omni-channel campaign. And if you can afford to do the whole thing, or if you want to outsource the whole thing to an agency like us and have them do it for you, have us do it for you, absolutely fine. But if you are wanting to pivot and to focus in on the things that are just going to result in successful sales conversions, we need to be doing that marketing that sits at the bottom of the funnel. Now, 90% of you guys in the room, you are business owners and people who are doing sales and marketing. Now, you're working from home perhaps, and you are in a position where you've got a little bit of time on your hands to work out how you're going to cope with the pandemic and what are you going to do. Well, here you go, guys. Here are the 3-4 things that I'm actually going to advocate that you do right now. These are the things that are working for my clients at this moment in time to generate sales leads. So if you want to get leads coming to your website throughout the pandemic, throughout the period of lockdown, then you can do that right now. Here they are: search engine optimization, paid ads on Google and Facebook, email marketing automation, and finally that remarketing that we just spoke about. So these are the 4 areas that I really want to tune in for today. We've only got 30-40 minutes left, and we're going to go into each one of these things in a little bit of specific detail so that you can really start implementing this for yourselves on your own digital strategy. So search engine optimization, let's hit the ground running with this first one. SEO, bit of a dark art. Everyone says, well, how do I do SEO? Is it really still the case of cramming keywords on a page and doing all of that? Well, guys, no, it's not. It's much more simple than you think. It's about writing quality content that meets with the user's search that they put into Google. So our content has to answer the search journey. And then secondly, it's about increasing the website's domain authority. And we do that by the quality of links that come through to our digital assets. And I want to just show you this, guys, because this is really key data. Back in 2019, the average search on Google across the world, so not just google.co.uk, was on average 40,000 searches a second. Wow. massive, okay, a huge volume of searches. However, in the first and in the second lockdown, the average rose over an 8-week period to 42,591 searches a second. Wow, amazing. And actually, as we have moved into January, the stats are keeping at a very similar level to lockdown 2.0. So 42,000 odd people that are searching every second to find your business. You say, Steve, well, I'm not really sure about that. How can I understand if people are actually searching for me? Because there are so many search phrases people could be searching for. You're absolutely right, my friend. It's possible for us to determine the key phrases that people are looking for. And we call that a keyword universe report. And I'm going to show you how to do that. And actually, my offer to you guys today is, as a result of coming on the webinar, we would be pleased to offer you a free keyword universe report, as well as the book, as well as £1,000 of free marketing. So you're in the win-win camp today, guys. So we've got loads of people searching online. And I want you to notice the percentage of people that are searching using mobile devices, and most importantly, using voice search. It's up to 60%, guys, 61% in fact here. So the number of people that are using Alexa, Google's virtual assistant, Siri on the iPhone, lots of ways in which people are searching via their voice to find your business. Now, what does this mean? Well, it means for most of you in the room today, you're 30 plus and older, you'll be searching using Google using a keyword, digital marketing consultant in London, for example. Whereas millennials, Gen Zs, the majority of web users today are changing their search behavior now to be focused on asking questions, because they're saying, hey, Siri, hey, Alexa, what's the best digital marketing agency in London? And then that question is yielding a number of different results. Okay, so we've got to be thinking about question-based search as part of our SEO strategy. So when we look at SEO, there's two real fundamental things. We've got firstly the on-page optimization, and then the second thing is our off-page optimization. That's the link building that links targeted relevant websites through to our site. And I'll talk about both of those so we get total clarity about how to do this. The first thing, though, is the on-page optimization. What is Google looking for? Well, Google wants your website to be fast. It wants your website to be responsive. In other words, that means it scales from browser to browser and it scales on device, whether you're on a desktop, a tablet, a mobile, or guys, to be frank, whether you're looking at a website on a coffee table that might be a connected device in a new coffee shop, you could browse the internet on that thing in front of you. And this is the way the internet is going. We're finding these days that more and more devices, typical household objects, your fridge, freezer, your chair, whatever it might be, is now integrated and connected to Wi-Fi. And because of that, you're getting the fridge freezers that have the screen on the front, and you can browse the internet using your fridge freezer. So when we're considering what Google wants a site that's going to be responsive. In other words, it scales up and scales down dependent on the browser that's being used. And remember, guys, most of us have these things, mobile phones. Mobile telephones typically result in about 60 to 70% of all website traffic on average. So we really want to be leading with mobile. If our site doesn't look good on mobile, the likelihood is that we're not going to get good SEO ranking performance in Google on a mobile device. Google's also looking for good quality content. And what is good quality content, you might ask? Well, quality content is content that answers the user's search journey. So if someone is searching with their voice, asking a question, your website has to answer that question in the best possible way. And Google's looking for websites that have a low bounce rate. A bounce rate when someone comes onto your site and then they leave without taking a next step. And if you've got a website that has a high bounce rate, you typically have a low search engine ranking performance. So we've got to get that bounce rate as low as possible. And this is linked to the amount of time that people spend on our site, because amount of time usually is an indication of engagement. Someone is engaged with the content. So how do we get good engagement, you might ask? Well, video content, of course, pictures, images, rather than big paragraphs of text, breaking that down into nice bite-sized chunks that people can easily consume and absorb. And the final thing that Google's looking for, of course, is the off-page optimization, and ultimately a qualification of how much domain authority your site has, how much reputation you have, and that comes from the quality of your links. So link building is still very, very much important as part of an SEO strategy. And guys, if you're not doing any link building, you're not doing SEO, don't worry, you can do it. You could either do it yourself or you can get someone like us to do that for you, of course. So the first thing with our on-page stuff, we've got to start with keyword analysis. That's the Keyword Universe report. How do we get that? Well, there's loads of tools on the market. You've got SEMrush, Searchmetrics, Ahrefs. You've got the Google Keyword Planner within the AdWords product suite. So you can go into Google, export this data of keywords that people are searching for to find your business, and then ultimately using that keyword analysis, we can start to write the content on our page. So that's things like header tags, the H1, H2 that appear on your page. We've got the page title. That's the bit that's shown in the top left-hand corner of your browser screen, but it's also the bit that's shown when you do a Google search, the bit that's usually highlighted with a blue link. We've got the meta description. That's the bit that sits underneath the blue link in Google. So it's a little snippet of information to encourage your audience to come to your website. And finally, we've got this concept of synonyms, associated keywords, and keyword grouping. And the best way to describe this, guys, is if I took a case study of a keyword such as university tuition fees. Well, there are a myriad of phrases that mean the same thing. Undergraduate tuition fees, graduate fees, university tuition fees cheap, for example. Loads and loads of different phrases that mean relatively the same thing. So Google is grouping those keywords together. So we establish which key phrase is the one we want to target, and we then include those associated phrases in our content on the web page. So very, very simple stuff ultimately to get your site ranking. So once we've done that process of on-page optimization, then you can start to focus on your link building. Guys, most people, what they do is they create a website, they write all their content, and they go, oh, I need to SEO it. Go to a guy like Steve Pelford will do it, and then they give me a website and they think that I can magically wave my wand and suddenly I'll have a good optimized site. No, fundamentally, guys, that's not going to work. We have to start the other way around. So we start with the keyword research, we do the Keyword Universe report, we then write the content, the copy that goes on the site, we get all of the technical SEO title tags in place, and then we move on to the link building. And link building is what I'm going to show you now on this slide. Typically, the starting basis of this is writing some content. That could be a blog that exists on a blogging site, could be a press release, it could be a news item that goes somewhere. And of course, what happens is, as we write that content and put it on the web, we then distribute it on social media. And that's the process that we call in the marketing world amplification. Okay, and amplification is great because the more people that are actually doing stuff online and sharing stuff on social media, the greater our domain authority increases. So that's wonderful. The next step is that when people share stuff on social media, we are going to get followers, and that's wonderful. Those followers are then going to retweet or share our content, and that equals reputation. In other words, they're saying, I like this person's content, they have my approval, and they are a good source of quality content, therefore giving us that reputation. And of course, you then go through the process again, writing this content. Now, if we just did this, guys, it's going to take a huge amount of time and energy and resources to actually get our SEO working. We'd have to be writing hundreds of pieces of content and distributing it, having huge audience groups in order to get this doing what we want it to do. So there is a better way, guys. We can still go and write our content. We produce our press releases, our blogs, our posts. We get that content ready. We write it with keyword optimized content so that it matches the user's search journey. But then we begin with our link building process. And you use here press releases, social media indexing, and video content to be able to do this. And what I'm showing you on the screen is my two-tiered approach to link building, okay? Level A links are the ones in green. Those ones are linking directly to your website. The level B links are the ones in blue, and those are effectively third-party pieces of content that then link to the press release or the social media post or the video. So they're not linking directly to us, but they're third-party links. And why are we including those? Well, ultimately, level B links attribute the value of a level A post, and therefore this influences domain authority. And I'm going to show you that here, and I ask you to put your mathematician brain on for just a second as we show you how this works. So we've got a post. This is perhaps a press release that we publish on a press release site, and we've got two things linking to it. Now, in this scenario, there's nothing linking to those two things. Therefore, the value of this content, as far as Google's concerned, is nothing, zero. Okay, 0 plus 0, of course, is 0, but not in this case because we've got one item and one item. So it's effectively 1 plus 1. The post in green here, guys, is worth 2 points. So if I apply this system across a slightly wider portfolio of links, so I've got 3 level A links and I've got 6 level B links. The score system for my website, the measure of domain authority, is going to be 2, 4, 6 for the level A links, and then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for the level B links. So 1 point for each one of those level B links. Now, what does that mean? Well, if I've got a competitor who exists against me and the competitor and my site have all of the same similar on-page content, the sites are fast, they're responsive, they're set up in a best practice way. Well, Google's going to start to take the off-page domain authority score as the metric to determine that ranking position. So in other words, if you had a website that had 13 points or more in this example, then you would rank higher than me. So I've got to get this score as high as I possibly can, but I'm limited in the amount of content I can produce. I wouldn't want to just produce hundreds of pieces of content. I'd end up getting a manual spam action in Google, which I don't want. So I have to do this in a steady process, but the way that we achieve this is by using social media. And in this case, the example I want to give you is using Twitter, whereby we can get that social amplification. Now, I got 36,000 followers on Twitter, and my clients are always growing in the number of followers that they have using our Amplify follower system. So ultimately, what we're doing here is we're sharing a piece of content on social media, and we can guarantee typically that we'll get about 10 people retweeting, resharing that content across. So this post at level B goes from a value of 0 to 10 because we've got 10 real people sharing that content. So if we apply the same across the other level B post, our level A post that was only worth 2 points is now worth 10 plus 10, so that's 20. Of course, we're going to do the same thing for the level A post. We're going to share that one on social media, and therefore we've got 20 plus 10, that's 30. Okay, if I apply that to the same layout that I showed you just before, our website that was worth 12 points is now worth 30, 60, 90, 100, 110, 20, 30, 40, 100, and 50 points. So can you see, guys, how quickly we've moved from a domain authority score of 12 points to a domain authority score of over 150 points just through the use of link building and using social media. So guys, this is how social is important as part of your strategy. Even though it sits at that mid-funnel market engagement level, it's still fundamentally important to be getting our followers ultimately sharing our content. The more amplification we get, the more SEO ranking performance we're going to get as well. Excellent. Well, I'm going to move on, guys, to the next section that you should really be focusing during the pandemic, and that is the concept of paid advertising. Of course, we've got 2 different types here. So we're going to look at Google Ads and we're going to look at Facebook advertising very, very quickly. Not going to spend too long on this, but what I want to say on Google Ads is I'm showing you inside the new Google Ads dashboard, which was updated in December 2019. Google rolled out a brand new way of doing ads, which basically moved away from a cost per click model towards a cost per acquisition model. So you can see right at the top here that the campaign that I'm showing you in the screen here achieved 227 clicks, 68,000 impressions. That's the number of people that viewed the ad. Okay, huge volumes. Remember, I'm only paying per click. So 227 clicks from 68,000 people seeing my ad. The average cost per click was around £3.15. Of course, we can cap that at any level. So we could drive down that cost per click, which meant the total cost for the campaign was £714. Not too bad. What we really then want to know is the level of conversion we're getting. And using Google Analytics now and using the Google Ads product suite, we actually have total transparency over the conversions that we're getting. So Google has moved us away from cost per click towards cost per conversion, cost per acquisition, because Google knows ultimately, if you know the cost of a conversion, you will just say, well, how many customers can I buy? Okay, Google, if it's costing me 50 quid, can I have 500 customers, please? And because you've got quantifiable ROI, it's much, much easier to stomach that acquisition cost. So Google Ads is a really great way to start testing this. And if you've never done Google Ads before, I'd recommend you take a budget of £500 to £1,000 and run a campaign for 6 weeks to measure the cost per acquisition. Now, you're going to get traffic to your site anyway. The likelihood of that converting, you getting leads, is high because people on Google are already exhibiting commercial intent. In other words, they're searching to find your business. But guys, this is the fundamental thing that has changed. Google is now offering what's called a broad match modifier campaign. Now, without getting bored in the detail here, let me just explain to you what broad match campaigns are. Google has all of this big data intelligence from other advertisers, from other people that are searching right now to see which key phrases result in a higher level of conversion than others. So if you tell Google that you want to rank on a particular phrase and you want to be showing your ad for this group of phrases, Google's now going to make automatic recommendations to extend the reach of your campaign on phrases that it knows through its machine learning algorithm that are going to result in successful conversion. Now, why would Google do that? Well, of course, it's going to make you pay more money to Google. That's the first thing. Come on, this is commerce, guys. This is Google's not being clever here. This is very, very simple maths. So Google wants to support you to get as much as you can out of its algorithm, out of the product suite here. But the second factor is that we can also run what's called exact match campaigns. Now, once we identify a phrase using broad match that we know is resulting in conversion, we very simply suppress it from that broad match group and we move it into the exact match group. What that's going to do is going to push down that cost per click, increase the level of conversion, and enable our ad copy to be more targeted and more relevant. Guys, this is going to produce you quantifiable results. No questions asked about this. And actually, if you don't have the skills to do it yourself, it's actually very, very easy to commission an agency, because agencies on Google Ads and on Facebook ads will charge you a percentage of your ad spend to manage it. Typically, the average sort of cost is about 30%. Now, with some agencies might be slightly higher, other agencies slightly less. But on average, if you're spending £1,000 on your Google ads, spending that with Google, what's going to happen is an agency is going to charge you £300 to proactively manage that. So brilliant, really, really affordable advertising, huge number of impressions, huge amount of brand awareness, and quantifiable results. So we know how much we're getting from our marketing spend. If you're not doing Google Ads at the moment, get this going quickly, guys. It's going to transform your results. The next thing I want to talk about is localized search results. Now, all of us are using our mobile devices, whether we're locked down, whether we're going to work, whatever you're doing, you'll be using mobile. And with the mobile devices, the location of your business is fundamentally important. Now, how do we tell Google where we're located? Well, we do that using Google My Business. It's a very simple free tool that's available from Google, and it's Google's directory. It's the integration of 3 different product suites: Google Places, Google Maps, and the old Google Plus for Business, now brought together in one unified platform product suite, and it's free to use. The great thing about Google My Business is that we can get reviews from local customers, but also Google will give us credibility in local search rankings. So when someone searches on their mobile device to find your business, we can tell Google to serve our GMB listing within a 20, 30, 100-mile radius of wherever we're based. And this is really, really good for search. It's really, really good for actually getting more calls coming through. And of course, with the pandemic, we can publish multiple different features onto our GMB page. So updates about COVID, whether you're open or not, offers, promotions, incentives, all of that can be published on Google My Business. So go ahead, create your free GMB listing. Make sure you're using all of the free Google resources, from analytics through to your ads dashboards, and make sure that they're all set up properly, and then you'll start to getting some results. Okay, the other area, guys, I said was about Facebook ads. Now, I know some of you are B2B and you're thinking, well, should I be doing Facebook? Well, ultimately, people on Facebook are searching to find their friends. They're looking at family pictures, that sort of stuff. Remember, it's the Facebook ecosystem. That's Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Facebook Messenger. 2 of those, which we call above the line social. So that's Facebook and WhatsApp, and 2 of those being what we call dark social. In other words, they're messenger apps like WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger. Okay, so regardless of the channel here, Facebook advertising is a means of getting our ads out in front of people. Now, we only pay per click, guys, and so the number of impressions, similar to Google ads, will be very, very high. The key things about Facebook ads that has changed: we have 182 personal character attributes that we can target as an advertiser. So from a privacy perspective, guys, Facebook is creating a nightmare for privacy, because ultimately they're tracking everything that I'm looking at, everything that I'm doing. And now, even this week, we've heard the news on WhatsApp that Facebook is trying to take more ownership of understanding what you're talking about in your WhatsApp conversations. So all of this sort of stuff is happening behind the scenes, guys. But Facebook, from an advertising perspective, it gives us 182 personal attributes that we can target for an individual. So this is way more than just, I want someone of a certain gender, of a certain demographic and an age that's interested in Formula One. No, I can now be totally targeted around these 182 character attributes, which means the level of advertising I can put out is so personalized, so specific, that actually the ad copy that I produce is far more likely to produce a click-through and produce some sort of conversion. The next thing I can do, guys, and this is smart stuff, I can take my CRM data, so whether that's purchase data from B2B email list providers, or whether that's data that you've accrued through GDPR opt-in consent over the last 12 months, you can take that email contact data, upload it into Facebook, and Facebook reckons it can match up to 60% of all uploaded data. Wow, that's massive. So Facebook knows who these people are. And based on this knowledge, using the AI and the smart artificial intelligence algorithms, it can then see the personal character attributes for the people that you've uploaded into the Facebook ecosystem. It will then match those personal character attributes. In other words, if we've got 100 people and they share very, very similar personal character attributes, we can then go and create campaigns that are similar to the individuals that we know who are already customers. And you'll be surprised, guys. You'll find out certain things about your audience, that 90% of them are interested in Formula One cars, or 90% of them are interested in certain blog posts about a specific topic. It's very, very illuminating. So the level of privacy, slightly questionable, but on the advertising end, it's wonderful in terms of the amount of tracking and traceability that we can have for our advertiser. Okay, the next thing, guys, is all to do with post-click tracking. When someone comes through to your website, we can put the Facebook pixel cookie on there and we can get this quantifiable measured results. Not only does that then show in Google Analytics, but we can also see the conversions in the Facebook dashboard as well. So this is all about funnels, guys, and I want to talk more about funnels today, because funnels is the way that ultimately you can actually get people to pay for the cost of your marketing. Yes, I said it. You can get the cost of your marketing paid for by producing a funnel that produces results. So let me give you an example. I want to give you a live case study. And we're looking at a company called Jasper Markets here, who provide fruit and veg boxes during the pandemic. Lovely little business, and obviously very organic, very homegrown, operating out of a very small area. But this is how they've set it up. And bear with me, because it looks complex on the screen, actually very, very simple. They've started with a Facebook ad, and it's targeting stay-at-home mums. It's targeting professional people, typically who are in their 30s to 50s. Okay, so typically women in that category. And they're using a lot of other smart stuff to match those 182 personal character attributes, but they're basically putting a video ad out encouraging people to eat fresh food. When people click through, they land on a sales page and they get that pre-sales message. Okay, now notice at every stage of the step here, if someone exits, so they bounce out of the system, then they're going to get retargeting by ads to bring them back to the same level they were at when they entered. So it might be a case that someone comes in through the video, exits, but made it all the way through to the store page but didn't complete on a purchase. They're going to get remarketed to take them back to the store page. Okay, so on the store page, this is where they're being offered a trial product, and in this case, box of fruit and vegetables delivered on a one-off thing. And then it's the shopping cart experience, so buy now and get a discount to do so. Now here's where the magic happens, guys. They want to move people from a one-off sale into a discounted pricing point that actually gets a recurring sales model coming through. So the checkout then results in this one-click upsell. In other words, we've already got them to give us the credit card details. So they've put their information in, said, yep, I'm about to buy, I've purchased the fruit box, but now I'm being offered a whole load of additional upsells. The first upsell is to upgrade the quality of the box, so go for a slightly larger box. The next upsell is to move onto a recurring box. So rather than just have one box a month, why not go for one a week? Okay, and then the final one is actually to get a custom shopper to do the whole thing for you. So ultimately giving you lots of different stages. Now, I want to show you guys how this works very, very practically using the Digital Revolution book. Now, I'm not just banging on about giving you free copies today. It retails on Amazon for $12.99, so we do sell it as well. But I want to show you how I've funneled this using this book. Now, this book takes me about £3.50 to produce. Okay, I can print it. All I had to do was spend my time and investment writing the content, but there's the book. So what I've done, I'm showing you on the screen now, I've created a funnel and I've used the tool that's available called ClickFunnels to do that. Really simple, gives us the ability to offer a service. And I've got a video on there. And basically what I say in the video is that I'm going to give you this book that's $12.99 for free, but all I'm asking you to do is cover the cost of postage. And the cost of postage is £4.50. So guys, smart people listening in the room have realized that I make a £1.50 profit on sending the book. So I do actually make a small margin, but ultimately I'm saying I'm giving them the free book and they're paying for postage. Now, why am I asking them to pay for postage rather than just giving them the book for free? Well, I want them to pay for postage because they need to get their credit card out in order for me to then do one-click upsells. Of course, the one-click upsell that I'm then offering through this system is the ability to get access to our free training courses and also then access to our video course. And guys, you can get the video course. It's going to cost you £35 and it's a step-by-step basis. If you want that, go to our website, hit on iconicdigital.co.uk/book, and you have to pay your 35 quid, I'm afraid, to get access to that premium content. 7 videos in there that take you through the 7 steps of the book so you can get all the learning material that goes with it. Fantastic. Okay. The next step is there's another one-click upsell to have some free coaching with me. There's another one to have paid coaching where we will then charge a higher premium for a face-to-face session. And ultimately the final one is done for you marketing. So we'll do the whole digital marketing strategy for you so you don't have to. And of course, that's a very, very simple process then to sign up for a package. So this actually, guys, pays for the cost of the marketing. I'm paying about £800 a month on Facebook ads to get that out and about. And I'm more than covering my return on investment. In fact, all of my marketing cost is being paid for by the fact that I've got these one-click upsells going on. So funnels, think about how you could do it for your business. Guys, time is running short. So the final area I want to focus on is our email marketing, or what I'm calling marketing automation. So guys, from an email perspective, what I'm showing you on the screen, probably you remember this. This is the old game where you had to pin the ball back and forth. Well, guys, why I've put this on the slide here is because I want to get your CRM data integrating with your website data. And the more I can get these talking together, the more I can generate quality campaigns that will nurture prospects. And remember, I showed you Integrator Leads earlier, and that's the tool that's going to give us transparency for who's on the website, but more importantly, it's going to let me schedule campaigns back based on automated triggers that you take when you come on my site. So timing is absolutely crucial. And here's an example using hotels.com. They send out scheduled emails, but they also send out triggered emails. So if you do not fulfill the shopping basket, you don't go and complete. And in this case, I was looking for hotels in Manchester. If I didn't complete on that transaction, I get an email triggered to my inbox straight away within 5 minutes saying, hey, go back to the website, have a look, complete on your checkout, and go and get this particular service. So triggered emails works not only in e-commerce, but it works across a whole range of activity. If you go to our website and you download case studies, or if you just simply hit lead score, in other words, you've engaged so many times that you are exhibiting buying like behavior, then I will trigger a campaign to you. And remember, triggered campaign, it's plain text, it's 3 paragraphs. Paragraph number 1, why I'm contacting you, what the offer is, and then a sign up link. So all I do is I sit back with my feet up and I watch the lead generation engine produce these leads for me based on the actions that people take on my site. And remember, guys, retargeted customers via email are 70% more likely to complete on a purchase than someone who just gets an HTML newsletter. So stop sending the newsletter, guys. Focus on marketing automation, link your website and your data together. And remember, guys, if you're in B2B, you can still go and buy quality data that's GDPR opted in, so you can go and get a license to that data and run campaigns out. And the cost per data is going to be anything from 40p a record to 45p a record, dependent on your broker. And if you need help and support for that, guys, we would be honored to help you in that process. So we're coming into land, and I want to give you our 5 metrics, the 5 elements that you as a business owner, as a digital marketer, need to be focusing on. And here they are, guys: leads, conversions, average number of transactions, the average deal size, and finally, margin. Those are the 5 elements. And this is the system that I'm going to show you in this quick example here, and then we'll wrap it all up and close. So number 1, leads. So first thing I'm showing you here is if I had a business that generates over the year 120 leads, and I'm converting, say, on average 25% of those, that means I'm getting 30 new customers. This is a nice small business model. And I'm going to go for £1,000 for the size of my deal. And I'm saying that I'm transacting once a month at this level. So £1,000 a month over a 12-month period. That's going to yield me, based on 30 customers, £360,000 £1,000 worth of turnover, and I'm keeping the math simple, going with a 50% margin. That means my profit margin is, my profit that I get from that turnover is 180,000. Okay, nice and simple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 5 metrics and I'm going to aim over the next quarter to improve them by just a factor of 10%. Okay, so my leads are going to go up by 10%. That's up from 120 to 132. How do I do that? Well, I utilize email marketing automation, SEO, paid advertising, everything you've just learned in the seminar. Okay, I only need to get an additional 12 leads coming as a result of this activity. I'm then going to increase conversion. How do I do that? Well, sales collateral, better case studies, more timely automated responses, systemization of my sales process. Remember, only 10% up from 25%. That's 27.5%. That's going to increase my yield of new customers from 30 to 36. So I then need to get one more transaction. Well, how can I do that? I'm going to increase my marketing at key points in the year, whether that's Christmas, whether it's Easter, Diwali, any particular festival you care to mention, really doesn't matter. It could be a summer promotion, a winter promotion, a spring, summer, autumn, whatever, doesn't matter. One additional promotion that's going to secure me one additional transaction. I'm then going to increase my prices by 10%. And I'm just going to put the prices up, 10% increase, going from 1,000 to 1,100. And that is going to yield me a turnover of £527,000, up from 360. Now, smart ones of you in the room will say, well, Steve, that's an increase of 47%. Absolutely. You can increase your turnover by 47% straight out. Now, if I could increase my margin, very hard to do in the current pandemic, I know, but just assume a 10% increase, I'm actually going to yield £290,000 of profit. That's an increase of 64%. Hooray, wonderful. My business is suddenly more profitable. I'm actually doing more for less, and I'm yielding all the benefits of this gearing strategy. Now, what if, guys, I didn't just do 10%? What if I did 30%? Which actually, for some of my clients, I've seen them do up to 60 or even 70%. So achieving 30% is not like an exception. You could do this in the next quarter. So if you did this, you get 156 leads, 32.5% conversion. That's 51 customers this year. You'd have a transaction of 16 transactions just by running those additional campaigns, and you would be upping your price to £1,300. That would turn your business from being worth £360,000 to being worth £1,034,000. So absolutely worthwhile doing. And guys, this is real data that will actually transform results. And of course, if you could increase the margin, that's the factor here. Very difficult to go above that sort of margin, but if you could increase by a further 30%, you'd be yielding a massive profit there of £672,000. Wonderful. Not only are we pivoting to use digital marketing to succeed, but we're also utilizing the market conditions to survive and even to thrive. And I really want to encourage you to do that. So guys, we're reaching the end of our presentation today, but before we close the webinar, the offer to you is this. I'm sending you a free copy of the Digital Revolution. All you need to do is make sure you've given us your home address, not your business address where the book's going to say sat on your desk for the next 2 months. We need your home address. We will not spam you. We're just going to send you the one book, absolute promise, cross my heart, etc. That is yours. It's free for you. The next thing I want to give you is a free marketing audit, and that's an hour of my time to run some reporting for you, extract what's going on, and work out where you can get better ROI. And then I want to give you £1,000 of my money to use on marketing. So £1,000 of free marketing. Of course, I'm only condition on that is that you use it with Iconic Digital. And I'm going to use that as a test case to demonstrate the ROI for you. I'm going to discount that off your setup fees or give it to you to use in some marketing. Here we go. And so this is really about getting you going with some of these things. You want to use it for paid advertising. You want to use it for marketing automation. You want to use it for SEO. Doesn't matter to me. I want to give it to you to demonstrate results. And I'm so confident that we can produce those results. That's why I'm committing my own money to this, so that you know that you can actually yield tangible results. And ultimately, if it doesn't work, hey, big deal, you've not lost anything. But guys, when you come on board with Iconic Digital, there's no long-term contracts. Ultimately, it just gives you a rolling monthly agreement that puts the pressure on us as an agency to deliver results. And the next thing, guys, we are opening up the 10 slots to come on board with our half-day marketing masterclass. So this is not just a short 1 hour webinar. This is you taking half a day of time, sitting in a round table online through Zoom with me and 10 other people. where we will then go through all of these things in a lot more detail. And the cost for that is discounted from £150 to 75 quid a ticket. And we're going to be sending you the link to that later in the day so that you can actually subscribe to that. And if you want access to one of those roundtable discussions, I'm then offering a coaching program where I will coach you for a small monthly fee to be able to get the results that you need. And I'm only taking on board 10 customers on the coaching side of things because it's only me doing it. And of course, I want to be able to offer those people the very best service. So if you are interested in the half-day session, you want some results from that, then come on board with us with that. If not, then come and do the free marketing audit and we will gladly get your marketing going. And guys, if you just want to share the webinar, you want to attend our next webinar, we're also running another free one, which we call our website Wonders and Blunders, how to create a website that converts traffic into sales leads. So guys, we've reached the end of our presentation. All that remains is for me to thank you very, very much for coming to today. Hope you've enjoyed it and got a lot out of it. Rosie will be sending you the link to the PowerPoint deck and also the link to the video so that you can get access to this whenever you need it and watch it again and get all of that learning going. I'm going to go and just take a few questions now. So if you've got questions from today, please just post them in the chat. Thank you very much. And we've got Michael here with a question about SEO. Thank you, Michael. So Michael is saying, Steve, with SEO, is it possible to get my website ranking even though I don't have the content on my site yet that matches the key phrases? Right, okay. Michael, short answer to your question is you need to have content that matches the user's search journey. So no, you will not get your website ranked unless you've got that content. And simple answer there is start with the Keyword Universe report. Remember, we would do that for you for free. So start with that. The next step, go ahead and write that content. And again, if you can't write content yourself and you need to commission a content writer, speak to us. We can help you with that. Get the website optimized for those key phrases. Get that content on the website and then start the process of link building. Again, link building is the thing that's going to increase domain authority. Right, we've got another question about SEO from Annalisa. Thank you, Annalisa, for being with us today. Annalisa says here, what is the best way to get link building and how much time will it take me to get results from my SEO strategy? Wow, okay, great question. With every marketing channel has a different amount of time that it takes to get ROI. Email marketing, you're going to get ROI from first month. SEO, it's going to take you 4 to 6 months from the moment you start to get to page 1. So it will take a little bit of time, but out of all of the marketing channels, SEO is by far the biggest one that will result in the biggest sales conversion. So really worth investing into. So in terms of timescale, 4 to 6 months from when you start. In terms of your question about link building, if I was you, I would focus the link building around news items, utilizing press releases, news items that can be shared across press release sites, and that way you'll get more links quicker that will result in successful conversion. Okay, thank you very much, Annalisa. Right, we've got a question here from Mark. Mark is wanting to know about social media. Which social media channels should I focus on? I am a business to business. Great, okay, so B2B companies. Using social media, you need to be on Instagram and Facebook. You need to have some sort of presence, although they're not the primary channels to focus on. Okay, so I will always go for 5 channels. Google My Business, which is where you're going to share your content. Twitter to get your SEO amplification. Your Facebook and Instagram for just interaction with your audience. And the final one, obviously for B2B, is LinkedIn. So in terms of the number of posts that you're putting out, depends on the level of interaction that you're wanting to go for. We actually have a number of different services for social media that provide different levels for you to engage with. Now, starting element with social media for our sort of Kickstart program is $2.99 a month. And for that, you're getting a post a week on Instagram, a post a week on Facebook, 1 a week on Twitter, and 1 a week on LinkedIn and Google My Business. You're also getting a story that's replicated across Insta and Facebook, and also all of the monthly social listening that goes with that. Now, the most popular program is our Accelerate social service, which is $4.99 a month. And with that, you're getting 3 posts a week on Insta, 3 a week on Facebook, 3 on Twitter, post a week on LinkedIn, and a post a week on Google My Business. You're then getting 2 stories replicated across Insta and Facebook, plus an animated video post every week. And the final one, where for you enterprise guys in the room, is $7.99 a month, 3 posts a week across Insta and Facebook, 5 a week on Twitter, 2 a week on LinkedIn, 2 on Google My Business, 3 stories, 2 animated videos, daily social listening, Amplify active social scheduling, and of course your weekly account management thrown in with that. So hopefully that gives you an indication as to what we would recommend for your social. Right. We've got we're coming into close. I don't want to keep you too much longer. We've got a question here from Michelle. You mentioned about Gator Leads. Is it possible for me to get free trial? Yes, it is. Next question. Sorry, Michelle, but thank you for asking. Another question about Gator Leads. How does Gator Leads work for tracking people if they come from mobile devices or desktops? Great question. So Gator Leads sits on the back end of your website, and it looks at all the traffic that comes to your site using the IP address to look up that IP address to determine the company name. So absolutely spot on. Not really a B2C tool. So if someone's coming from a mobile device, unless they're coming through their work network or using Wi-Fi, then they're invisible to us. We can't track that individual. But if they're coming through a Wi-Fi signal, through a router, then we can take that IP address and look them up. But remember, guys, the main reason you're using Gator Leads is because when we send out an email, regardless whether that's on mobile, tablet, or desktop, when they get that email, the pixel cookie is automatically downloaded. So all they have to do is come through to our website, and we are then going to pull through their personal data when they accept cookies to come through into the Gator Leads window. Remember, £175 a month is the cost for Gator Leads, and you can get a free trial with Iconic Digital. Simply just speak to us, respond to the email, and just say you'd like that, and we would be glad to set that up. Guys, I'm really sorry we've come to the end of the session and time is short. I don't want to keep you on here for any longer than needs be. But what I will do is I will make a note of all the questions and respond to all of you individually. Please, please, please make sure you give us your address, guys. We want to send you a copy of the book for free, and we want to stay in touch with you to encourage you to come on one of the forthcoming training seminars. But all that remains is for me to thank you for coming on the first webinar back for the new year. Thank you for being with us, and we hope and pray that you have you stay safe during the pandemic, firstly, but also that your business is able to utilize some of the resources and skills that we've taught you today to ultimately pivot, survive, and thrive for the future. Thanks for being with us today for this Iconic Digital webinar. Have a great day.